Sometimes in life, no matter how hard we try, things just don't go our way. We plan, we pray, we wait, but nothing seems to change. In those dark moments, it's so easy to feel forgotten, as if our prayers are just echoing into an empty void. But what if I told you that every delay, every struggle, and every heartbreak wasn't a punishment, but a preparation? What if what feels like a dead end is actually a new beginning in disguise? Let me share a story with you that might just change the way you see your own struggles. Once upon a time, a magnificent ship was sailing across the vast open ocean. The journey was smooth, the waters calm, until one night, a violent storm descended without warning. The waves grew into liquid mountains, lightning tore the sky apart, and within hours, the mighty ship was ripped to shreds by the furious sea. It was a complete catastrophe. Everyone on board was lost to the waves. Everyone, that is, except for one man. By some miracle, by the will of the Almighty, this man survived. He was carried, unconscious, by the currents and washed ashore on a deserted island. When he finally opened his eyes, the sun was a scorching fireball overhead. The beach was eerily silent, and all he could see in every direction was the endless, unforgiving sea. He was utterly alone, and a wave of fear and loneliness crashed over him. He fell to his knees in the sand and prayed with all his heart. "Oh, my Lord, please, please help me. Send someone to rescue me from this nightmare." He waited, his eyes scanning the horizon, but the entire day passed, and no one came. The next day and the day after that, still nothing. Silence. Days slowly bled into weeks. The desperation began to set in. His hopeful prayers started to fade, replaced by a growing sense of abandonment. His faith, once a strong anchor, began to weaken. He felt hopeless, angry, and completely forgotten by the world. But even in his despair, the will to survive flickered within him. He couldn't just give up. He started gathering fallen tree branches and piece by piece built a small, crude shelter to protect himself from the relentless sun and the cool nights. He learned to knock coconuts from the tall palms for food and fashioned a simple spear to catch fish. He lived each day one small, difficult step at a time, just trying to make it to the next sunrise. After nearly 20 grueling days of relentless struggle, he had managed to build a tiny hut. It wasn't much, but it was his. It was a small home that offered him a sliver of comfort, a little pocket of safety in a hostile world. It gave him a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, he could make it. But one afternoon, as he was returning from a trek to find more coconuts, he froze in his tracks. A column of thick black smoke was rising into the sky. His heart pounded in his chest as he ran closer, only to be met with a devastating sight. His hut, his only shelter, the one thing he had built with his own two hands, was engulfed in flames. The fire raged, consuming everything he had worked so hard for, turning his small victory into a pile of ash. He collapsed to the ground, completely panicked and heartbroken. All his effort, all his hope, had just gone up in smoke. He screamed out in anguish, "Oh God, I begged you for help, but you never answered. Why? Why would you take away the only thing I had left?" That night he cried until he had no tears left, eventually falling into a restless sleep under the vast open sky, feeling utterly broken and defeated. But the next morning, something completely unexpected happened. He was jolted awake by a loud, unfamiliar sound, a horn blasting across the water. He scrambled to his feet, rubbing the sleep and tears from his eyes, and looked out toward the sea. And there, anchored just off the shore of his deserted island, was a large ship. He couldn't believe his eyes. Overjoyed, ecstatic, he sprinted to the beach, waving his arms frantically, shouting for help with all the strength he had left. The crew on the ship spotted him and quickly sent a small boat to bring him aboard. As he stepped onto the deck of the ship, safe at last, he turned to the captain, his voice trembling with disbelief. How did you even know I was here? On this tiny island in the middle of nowhere?" The captain smiled warmly and replied, We saw a smoke signal coming from the island yesterday evening. We knew someone had to be stranded here, so we changed our course to investigate. In that one single breathtaking instant, the man froze. His entire body trembled as the profound realization washed over him. The fire that had destroyed his hut, the event that he thought was the cruelest tragedy, the final nail in his coffin, was the very thing that had saved his life. What he perceived as a disaster had actually been the signal that brought his rescue. Tears welled up in his eyes, but this time they weren't tears of sorrow or despair. They were tears of overwhelming gratitude and understanding. He looked up at the endless blue sky and whispered, "Thank you, my Lord. Forgive me for ever doubting your plan." My friend, this story is a powerful reminder of a beautiful truth. Sometimes, God's plan is hidden behind moments of what we perceive as pain and loss. We might lose something that feels precious to us today, only to receive something far, far greater tomorrow. The fire that feels like it's burning us to the ground may actually be the very light that is guiding us to safety. So, the next time life feels unfair, the next time your prayers seem to go unanswered and you feel like you're at your breaking point, please remember this story. Don't lose your faith. Every closed door, every frustrating delay, every painful hardship, it's not random. It's all part of a larger, more beautiful design. It's leading you somewhere better, preparing you for something greater. Trust the process. Trust His timing. Because what is truly meant for you will always find its way to you, even if it has to arrive through the fire. If this story touched your heart, I'd be so grateful if you could share it with someone who might need to hear this message today. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more stories that inspire hope and faith. Thank you for listening.